It is 6 p.m. and we want to get started on time. So I'm happy and thrilled to tell you that we have Kent Myers here tonight. He's going to do some opening comments, and we are hoping to get a lot of input from you guys. You're welcome to come up. When you talk, if you don't sound like I do in this mic, they're not hearing you at home. So when you go up to the mic, you kind of have to eat it a little bit. But it will really, really be helpful for those who can't make it and have to hear from home. So having said that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Myers.
Okay, thank you, and pleasure to be with you this evening. I've been in Morgan's Point Resort since yesterday, and had meetings all day today, and finish up with some meetings tomorrow morning, and then head back home. But again, my name is Kent Myers. I am vice president of a company called Clear Career Professionals, and we do recruiting for cities across Texas for not only city managers, but police chiefs, fire chiefs, public works directors, and other positions. I'm not going to say a whole lot tonight because I really want to hear from y'all. That's the purpose of us being here tonight. But let me give you just a little bit of background on myself and our company. I was in city management for about almost 45 years. Started in Texas and finished in Texas. Following graduation, I grew up in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and graduated from college at UT Arlington, and then a master's degree in public administration from TCU. Following that, I went to work for a COG and for a couple of years in East Texas. And then I became the first city manager in Converse, Texas, which is located outside of San Antonio. Then went out of state for about 25 years to Arizona, Arkansas, Hot Springs, Arkansas for 14 years. And then I was in the state of Washington, a place called Port Angeles, Washington for about 3.5 years. And decided about 12 years ago to come back to Texas and finish my career. And just finished about a year and a half ago, 10 years as city manager in Fredericksburg. And so when I retired, I got to visit with the grandkids and travel for a couple of months. And I said, hey, I don't completely want to retire. So a couple other city managers and I joined together and we formed our company, Clear Career Professionals. Our focus is on smaller cities in Texas. And we find there's a lot of need that smaller cities have in recruiting because the job market in the public sector is tight, just like in the private sector. Cities are having trouble finding qualified candidates. So we help with marketing and going out with our network and finding good candidates to bring forward for our positions. So we've been successful. We just finished recruitment for the city manager in Salado. We've done recruitments all across the state. And so we're just pleased to be here, and thanks to the city for selecting us to do this work. As I mentioned, we've had a series of meetings last couple of days. And one of the things I've been telling the group at the different meetings is what the schedule is. People say, how long is this going to take and what's the process? So let me just kind of tell you what's going to happen the next couple of months as we proceed through the recruitment. First off, this is the first step in the process, and what we're doing in these visits is getting out and meeting with the city council members, staff with the city, and citizens to gain a better understanding of the community. What are your needs here? What are some of the challenges? But also, what type of city manager do you think would be best for your community? And what I'm talking about is the personality of the individual, the leadership style, and just how the person would fit into the community, and that's very important information because every city is different, and what works in Salado might not work in Morgan's Point Resort, and so we want to get a real good understanding of what you need for the city manager to fit in here in your community. One thing I'm hearing is we want a more stability in this position. We want somebody that is around for a while, and so very important that person fits in with the community. So we're asking questions to kind of gain that understanding. And then we use that information to put into our marketing efforts. We develop a brochure called a job profile, and this is what we use to go out and contact candidates and get them interested in the position. So following these meetings next week, we'll have a draft job profile. We'll send to the mayor and city council for their review, and then they'll get back and review it and hopefully approve it. And then we'll start the advertising in about 30 days to advertise the position. We're focusing on Texas only, and there's enough qualified candidates here in the state that we can bring forward, I think. And we will screen those, our company will screen those applicants, identify some semifinalists for the position. We'll do some telephone interviews with the semifinalists, which will be videotaped, and those tapes will be provided to the city council. And along with, we'll do background checks of the individuals too, credit background, criminal background checks, and other checks. So all this information will be provided to the council here in about 3 months, along with our recommendation of 3 or 4 finalists for the position. These will be subject to approval by the council, but if the council agrees with our recommendation, then we'll bring those individuals forward for interviews. Those interviews, right now, the schedule was revised a little bit today, but it looks like around the end of April will be the interview process. We'll try to schedule all those interviews on one day, and hopefully at the end of the interviews, the council will identify the person that they want to try to hire and what they call the preferred candidate. So that's a process that will take place over the next several months. And again, we feel like we will be able to attract some quality candidates here. And the reasons is you have a very good quality of life here, very attractive community, you have a stable employment base, you have a good staff here, and you have a city council, of course, a new city council that wants to move forward and see the city continue to progress. So it's a good situation here that I think will attract probably, I would guess, somewhere between 20 and 25 applications for the position. That is, the city council this morning gave us information on salary and also the residency. And just for your information, the council would like, they prefer somebody to live in the community. That was what they articulated to us, and so we'll put that in our marketing information. They're not required, but they would prefer that. And the requirement is that they live within 20 miles of the city. So it's preferred they live here, but if they can't afford to live here, that they at least, or for whatever reason, they can't live here, then they have to live within 20 miles of Morgan's Point Resort. So that was some of the feedback we got from the council, and they revised the schedule. We'll put out a final schedule next week once I have an opportunity to go back to the office and make the changes that they recommend. That's really all I wanted to say tonight. Now, what we want to hear from y'all is, again, focusing on the type of person that you think would fit in best with the community, some of the challenges that individual would face, maybe some of the opportunities they would face, and kind of what your idea is of the ideal city manager for the city of Morgan's Point Resort. Just kind of give that, kind of picture that person in your mind. And that's what we want more than anything, is to understand that individual. So again, we can focus our marketing on that kind of person. So we want to hear from anybody that wants to come to the podium and speak. I'm going to be taking notes of your comments, and just ask that you just, if somebody's already said something, like one of the things we heard today was we wanted somebody that has a financial background and that can get the audits completed over the next several months and that kind of thing. So once one person says that, we just ask you to maybe not be redundant, and we don't need to hear the audit and finance, like 15 times. We got the message on that. And so, but yay. Yeah. But, and again. Yeah. So that's really all I wanted to say. So, Mayor, we can go ahead and open this up to anybody that wants to come forward. And I guess for the we need to just give your name, and again, I'll take notes, and we'll go from there.
If you're okay with it, Roxanne, if certain people don't want it, I was going to say I'll take the microphone. Okay. Well, I'll sit back here.
And I just ask you, let's try to leave, this is a public meeting, let's try to leave names out of this. You know who the previous city managers were. We've heard a lot about them, but this is an open public meeting, so let's try not to, in your comments, criticize any previous city manager if we could. Okay? Let's look to the future, in other words.
I'll start if nobody else will. Thank you for having us do this. I guess one comment that I have is Larry Hartman, 112 Great West Loop. It is, I think. I'll get a little closer to it. There you go. The one thing is, and I had mentioned it before, male or female, doesn't matter. You know, let's get a good person. I look at Dorothy. I'd hire you as city manager. I look at Roxanne. I'd hire you as city manager. Jimbo, city manager. We and why I say that is you want to be here. You guys want to be here. And in the past we've had younger people. You know, you can't fault somebody for moving up the ladder. So we may have a young person out there that wants to get into city management, or he or she is in there, but needs a stepping stone, put up for 3 years. We know this. They can move forward. They can help the city and move on. I mean, that's, when Dalton left, that was not a surprise to me. He's young. He needs to have opportunities in that. He didn't want to live here permanently, you know. I have to ask a question to Ken, if you don't,
Sure.
don't want to put you on the spot. You said you were in Fredericksburg for 10 years. What made you move? I don't know if you moved from Fort Worth or Dallas or wherever you moved to get there.
Washington?
What was, and plus, if we have an out-of-state person that is from Texas and understand Texas laws, let's don't exclude them from the opportunity.
Yeah. Well, you answered the question already, Larry. I wanted to be there. I enjoyed living there, the quality of life and the people and, you know, I won't say the wineries, but that may be a part of it. But, no, I wanted to be there. It was a good place to live.
And I think that's, you know, in the interviewing process, you know, to find out if the person really wants to stay any length of time, because, you know, look at the average of all across the country, how long do city managers stay? I mean, there's a reason for that. So let's don't hold it against them if we can find the right fit for 3, 5, 10 years, I mean, and move on. So just that. But thank you for having the
Okay, thank
process.
you. Larry, appreciate it.
Denise Seibert, 114 Great West Loop. I want somebody just that wants to continue to bring in more community events. We have now the 4th of July event, we have the run and the chili and stuff like that, but you know, other community events that can be, you know, drawing the community together more.
Okay, thank you. And I think you had the volunteer spirit to support those events from what I'm hearing, yeah.
Sorry about that. I don't need a mic, but we might be related. My aunt and uncle lived in Port Angeles.
Oh, beautiful.
Yes, very much. Very place. You know my name. I'm Joe Weaver. I live at 10 Calamity Jane. In the years that I've been here, one of the biggest problems that I've seen that things really needs to be issued and looked at is the communication between the police department, the city council, and how things are handled with communication. Things have been mishandled. I've seen it over and over again because of some problems that I've had with my personal credit and things being shoved off to this person, that person. Nobody knows what in the heck's going on. So there needs to be more follow-up, more communication between the parties to where everybody, as far as the office here, the police department, the fire department, everybody knows to where we're all on the same page. And that's one of the things in the time frame I've been here I haven't seen yet. And so thanks a lot for listening to me.
Well, your comment has been reflected by many people today about communications. And so that's definitely something we'll look for in the new city manager that can facilitate those communications.
All right, thank you.
I thought you didn't want names. Name's Mike. I live on Tanyard Road near one of the parks. I'm retired Army, and I want to point something out that I learned in the Army. I got to a place where I started telling people what to do, and one day a section chief, here it would be a department manager, like water department, fire department, came up and says, "Please don't tell my people what to do, I'm in charge of them." And that made a very big impression on me. I don't want somebody to come in who starts being a boss, that listens to the feedback from the department heads. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I'm Andrea, I'm his wife. I would like a democratic leader. I would like a, I'm sorry. I would like a democratic leader. I would like a manager, prefer a manager over a leader. If a leader, not an authoritarian leader, not a dictator, preferably not a charismatic leader. The person can have charisma, but I would like the person to have respect because of what he knows or his capabilities rather than his personality. I would like somebody who doesn't pit people against each other. Good communicator that unites people. That's basically it.
Got it, thank you.
Donna Hartman, 112 Great West Loop. I actually wasn't going to say anything because I'm going to have the pleasure of meeting with you tomorrow, so I didn't want to be redundant. But so that I can encourage other people to get up here and talk. And this is not a shy group. Isn't this rare when we're like telling people to come up? You know, to me, I want someone that embraces our volunteerism. You brought that up. We have some of the most incredible, smartest, talented people in this city that volunteer hours and hours of their time. We need someone who doesn't work against the volunteers or doesn't want to cooperate, but somebody who gets in and goes, gosh, what a great group I've got to work with. Like our staff. When our last city manager came, we said, we are giving you an incredible staff. You don't have to do a thing. Let them go. They know their jobs. They do a great job. And that was our advice. My advice to this one, not only embrace our staff, but also embrace our volunteers, and also embrace the city council. The city council is in charge of the city manager. He is answerable. His job is to implement the priorities that the city council set. The city's council job is not to take the vision or the agenda of a city manager and make it happen. So with that being said, we like a person that has vision and can bring ideas and things, but it needs to come from this body, and clearly this body is the one that's in charge. And they're in charge because of these people who are in charge of everything, the residents, and they're open and answerable to them. And I would want somebody who is very trustworthy. And by that, I mean, I want this person to be an ambassador for our city. I want them to go not only just locally and talk to folks good things about our city council, good things about our citizens and residents, but also out in the general public and in local, get involved in other localities, but praise our city, support our city, really be an ambassador. That's what I'd like to see. And I also think that this person needs to be loyal to our city, which goes along with being an ambassador. You know, if there's issues with the city, let's handle them in-house. Let's not go about and splinter the community with different groups, and let me get this one for here. We're a team. We are a team, and we have been an awesome team in this city for years. Our city managers were our friends. I still have an email that one of our city manager that was here for 12 years sent me, and it was a little bit before he passed, and I will never get rid of that. That's the kind of relationship as a council person, as a mayor, I had with this person. We can get that again. We need that again. We need to be united. We need to be kind to one another, and I think we need somebody who can embrace these things and is a person that gets people together. And I want them to be an active listener. It's not all about their communication has to be great, but they also have to be an active listener. And I could go on, but I'll do that to you tomorrow.
Okay,
Kent.
thank you, Donna.
Thank you.
Ambassador for city, that's the first time we've heard that. That's a good comment, thank you.
Barbara, woohoo.
I've already got Terrence's comments. Oh,
Well, you really hit everything. My name is Barbara Lynham. I live at 52 South Cliffwood, and I've been here since 1974. So I think I'm probably one of the longest people here. I have seen managers come and go. I would like to see that they work with the volunteers, as Donna had said. I think that I experienced the last time that a manager never wanted to work with the volunteers because he couldn't control them. And I want somebody that will try to help the city with things that need to be fixed and done and listen to the people of the city, not just use his own ideas of wanting to make it grow, but I'd like to see things taken care of that need to be taken care of before he goes and gets his ideas going. I wrote down so much I can't even find any of it now.
Not that much time, Barbara.
But I don't want to see a manager come and go as much as a lot of other people want him to grow. I worked for airlines and I watched the people, pilots, I worked for a small airline, and I watched the people come and use that as a stepping stone. I don't want to see that anymore. I've seen so many come and go that I want him to be part of the city and listen to the city people. I guess that's about all I have to say.
okay. Before we started, I forgot to mention, former city manager David Huseman was a good friend of mine. We worked together in Arkansas. He was a city manager in Maumelle when I was city manager in Hot Springs, Arkansas. So I knew David very well before he passed away and kept up with his career. He moved to Tennessee and Colorado and Ingleside, I believe. So just wanted to let y'all know a little bit about that. So, okay, next.
You want to come up?
That's an inappropriate question, so you don't have to answer it if it's not appropriate. Do you have a dossier or something with people that expressed interest to you,
Yes.
dear city?
Yes.
So you have already some that you might have in
Yes,
mind?
we have a network. For example, I just mentioned, we just completed in the last 30 days or so, the city manager recruitment in Salado. And they hired somebody in Salado. We have, I think we received about 40-some applications and resumes there. So some of those individuals will contact about this position and see if they're interested. So, yeah, we have a network.
But Andrea, they'll also solicit a unique to Morgan's Point. So we will do a brochure on Morgan's Point. Okay.
We also will use extensively social media to get the word out. A lot of people are using like LinkedIn. We'll use LinkedIn and Facebook postings and so forth to get the word out around the state.
I'm on TV again. Here we go. Do you do a social media check?
I'm sorry?
Do you do a social media checks?
Yes, yes. Oh, yeah. That was a question that has Dorothy asked me, I think at our first meeting. We do social media checks. We also do newspaper media checks to see if there's any negative newspaper articles or postings on Facebook or anything. So we do all that as part of our background. Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you.
City councils hate surprises, and last thing we want to do is bring somebody in here that we find out had a, bad legal situation or whatever. So we will do a thorough background check. Just the finalists before we bring them in. Other questions or comments? Good questions.
Don't take it as an offense. Please don't take it as an offense. But if somebody interviews for a city manager, they kind of know the game, right? You know the game. So they will try to do their best to somehow beat the interview. How do you try to get behind that? I think pretty highly of myself. so I think I can detect a lot of BS. And when I read a lot of
Well, I think,
resumes
well, I think
and
that gets back to, I think the city council members that you have here have all been through many interviews on their own. And you can usually determine, based upon certain questions, whether they're authentic in their responses or they're just putting on a face. So you just gotta kind of ask them to be honest with you
you
and,
believe that?
pardon me?
You believe
Yes,
that?
yes, usually they're pretty open and,
Well, open, but I mean, do you believe what, for instance,
not everybody, but you usually can see through any sort of falsehoods that they have, and they try to, just kind of say that they've done great things. And again, we're checking them out. We're not necessarily accepting everything. We actually check their references to verify if they said certain things. We'll find out if they're true or not.
how sensitive are you to people that like to use a lot of professional language, which tends to be very impressive, but is often used to, well, to create an impression that is not really honest. Like I've been the assistant to the city manager, in which everybody who works at a city is in a way or not. But when you just casually read that, it sounds pretty impressive if I was the assistant.
Our profession, first off, we have a code of ethics. City managers have a code of ethics. And second is, if somebody has a history of being dishonest, it gets around and they're not able to get jobs. I mean, we have a network of people that talk to each other, and so dishonest people do not usually survive in our profession very long. And so you can rest assured that, again, we'll check them out, and there's always a possibility of a bad egg being in the bunch, but we'll try to weed out those individuals. So,
Okay, all right.
Well, also, one of the first things that we talked about this morning was that they be credentialed as a certified public administrator, or there's other credentials that you can get to be a city manager. And we want to make sure that they have the minimum of that.
Yeah, I see that.
And then the experience is what comes next. And I know exactly what you're saying about weeding out, somebody doing just double talk. Taryn's probably the best at reading through.
Or you're going to be sitting in on.
Taryn hopefully will be a part of our interviewing process. But also you can ask them for examples. If they say, well, I did this and this, so you can say, well, how did that go? What were the obstacles of doing that project? How did the residents take that project? I mean, you can, what I call drill down on something. So we'll get there.
Can I-
Perfect, but we'll get there. Okay.
Also, I would say that I have a friend who she does this. She recruits people, and I talked to her for a while, and she gave some really good ideas of just open-ended questions that you could ask. They're ethical questions, things like that. And so I think when it comes time to doing that, I know that I, for one, as a council, would like to make up a series of questions that we will ask every candidate.
I will. Yeah, I'll have sample questions that we use for our interviews, and again, ask the council to add to those questions. So,
I did see, Kent had talked about the Zoom videos of the top 6 or 8. And Mike had sent me one, and I think it was the Murphy, the one that was hired in Murphy.
Okay.
And it was 3 people from Clear Career and then the candidate, and they would ask a question, and the person would respond, and then they would ask follow-up questions. And then, honestly, I thought it was the one he probably sent me was really good. But it was an excellent interview, I thought, because also when they tried to go on a little bit too much, Kent very nicely, reined them in and said, we need to move on and we want to get on to this and this and this. And so I was very impressed with that. And I learned a lot from that person in a 30-minute interview.
Yeah, I think it's also important to understand, we're the city council, but we're residents. We have to live with these guys, whoever they are. We're not going to be city council for the rest of our life. So we want to make real sure that when we're back doing mowing the yard or something, we're happy with what's going on. We're not going to set it up and move to Dallas anytime soon. So we got to live with what we have.
We also provide a 2-year guarantee that the person will be here at least 2 years. If not, then we will come back and do another recruitment at no charge to the city.
Yeah, and Larry, to your point, yes, people are going up. My analogy, and you live in Texas, you know about football coaches, and they turn over fairly quick unless they get the ideal spot. So we've got to look at that too. It's not a bad thing necessarily, unless you lose all the games and then they just hang you. But so that has to be taken into consideration. It'd be nice if we could get a 10 or 14 year,
No, I've had that question. I actually did an interim position down in Kema last summer, and I said, I don't think I can do full-time work anymore. No. There you go. Larry, man. Do you sell cars on the side or insurance or? Yeah. Any other thoughts that y'all want to share with us tonight? This has been really nice. I appreciate everybody and some good feedback.
And there are questions on the website under the town hall meeting, and if you want to send comments to Ryan, to our city manager, on answers to your questions, sometimes.
Send it to y'all. For y'all's information, Dorothy and Jimbo are the liaisons with me, so send everything through them if you would, and yeah, that would be good.
So don't hesitate to give us your feedback.
Michelle Wiseman, One Ridgewood Road, One Ridgewood Drive. Oh my gosh. Okay, how is not going to come up? So what I'm hearing is a servant leader.
Mm-hmm.
But something I would also like to see is something in their background where they have served, where it didn't pay them any benefit. Whether it's volunteer firemen, whether it's in their church community, whether they're on a board of directors of some outreach for people that go through, whether it's homelessness or something that shows that they care about people.
That's a good point. That's a standard question we ask at every telephone interview is tell us about your involvement in the community outside of work. And whether it's helping with festivals or working at the animal shelter, off duty or whatever. So we ask that question in every interview, but that's good. Yeah.
Thank you.
This is, all right. This is great. I didn't even think of that. But let's say somebody, I work, over my life, I have worked with many volunteer organizations, and there are two kinds of volunteers, some that actually volunteer and some that join the group so they can put something on their resume. Will you check that? If somebody says, yes, I've been in a volunteer EMT, and then you call him up and say, well, he came one time for the training to keep his certificate, alive. Will you check on that if somebody puts that on? That is
Don't usually check that out, no. We take them on the word on that.
Oh, that is terrible. Then if you do it, I will check it for you. If you recommend somebody like that, I will check that for you.
And she will.
You can
And we appreciate it. And we appreciate it. She's our researcher.
Okay. Anybody else this evening? Okay. Thank you.
Last chance. Okay. And if any of you are listening online or listen to this later, please do. If you have any comments or questions, Dorothy Allen and Jimbo Schneider. Okay. Sorry.
Congratulations.
We did. They are our liaisons, and if you go on the city website, you can just click on by their names, and their email address is right there. So please feel free to send in any comments or anything that you'd like. Thank you all so much for coming, and I guess we'll adjourn.